Hello everyone, in this video we are going to be looking at quadratic equation, and the equations we are given here all are trinomial kind of quadratic equation. That is, they consist of three terms. So for each case you can see this is one term, this is another term, and this is the third term. The second question, this is the first term, the second term, and the third term. While in the third question, this is the first term, the second term, and the third term. So all these equations are trinomial quadratic equation. And why are they quadratic equation? We've been able to establish in our previous videos how that the highest exponent for the variable x, or for the variable y, in this case, is 2. So when we have an equation whose highest exponent is 2, that is highest power is 2, we call that kind of equation a quadratic equation. Now, in order to solve quadratic equation, in order to solve trinomial quadratic equation, as in this case, so we have several methods for solving quadratic equations, and one of them is factorization, and that's what we're going to be considering today, how we can factorize trinomial quadratic equation. Factorization, to factorize. Another method which you are going to be considering after we've been able to learn how to use factorization method is called the completing the square method. Completing the square. Completing the square method. And another method we're going to be considering in this series is called the formula method. So we're going to be using formula. There's a formula to be generated from completing the square, which we can also use in solving quadratic equation. Of course, we have the graphical method, but these are the three methods that we're going to be considering in this series. Now let's start with the first example using factorization method. So we have x squared plus 2x equals 35. All we just need to do is rearrange, because the general form of a quadratic equation, of a trinomial quadratic equation, is giving us ax squared plus bx then plus c equals 0. So we're going to be rearranging the question that we have here in this format. So let's quickly get that done. So we have x squared, that is x squared, then plus 2x, then we have minus 35, of course, equals 0. So this is how we can get to rearrange what we have been given. Then after rearranging, then we're going to be using factorization. And thankfully, in our previous videos, we've been able to learn how we can factorize a quadratic expression, especially a trinomial quadratic expression. So all we just need to do is we multiply this with this, that is x squared multiplied by 35, negative 35, sorry. So we have negative 35 x squared. Now from here, all we just need is the coefficient here. The coefficient here. So what are the factors of negative 35? Such that when we add these two factors, they are going to sum up to give us 2, as in this case. And that's what we're going to be looking at. So what are the factors of negative 35? Or what are the factors of 35? Such that when we multiply together, will give us negative 35, and when we add together, will give us positive 2. Now the factors of 35, we have 1 and 35 itself. We have 5 and we have 7. So these are the factors of 35. So 1 and 35, 5 and 7. I know either of these is going to be the correct factors that we're going to be using. So, but let's take the case of 1 and 35 initially. So we have 1 and we have 35. So if I multiply plus 1 times 35, that is going to give us positive 35. So which means it does not align with what I want, because I need negative 35 as in this case. So I'm not going to be getting positive negative 35 if I use plus 1 and 35. So if I use 1 multiplied by negative 35, so it's going to give me negative 35. Yes, but does it satisfy 2x as in what we have there? Let's check. So if I have 1 plus negative 35, it's going to be giving me negative 34. So it does not satisfy 2. So it's not going to be used. So it's not correct. So let me change from 1 and negative 35. Let me change to negative 1 multiplied by 35. It's still going to give me negative 35, of course. But if I have negative 1 plus 35, it's going to give me positive 34, which does not align with what I have here, which is 2x. So it does not align, does not give me 2x. So I'm not going to be using that. So let me move to the two factors, which are 5 and 7. Now let's consider 5 and 7 now. So we have 5 and we have 7. So when I have 5 multiplied by 7, of course, it's going to give me 35. But if I have 5 plus 7, it's going to give me 12. It does not satisfy 2 as I have in the question. So I can't use positive 5 and positive 7. So let me now adjust one of the factors to negative. So let's have 5 and negative 7. So 5 multiplied by negative 7 is going to give us negative 35. So which satisfy negative 35 as in this case. But let me now add them together if it's going to give me positive 2. So we have 5 plus negative 7, which is going to be 5 minus 7. And that's minus 2. It does not satisfy 2 as I have here. So now let me change from negative 7 now to positive 7, then multiply by negative 5. So let's have negative 5 multiplied by positive 7. That's going to be 35. Sorry, negative 35. So it satisfies negative 35 as we have here. But let me add them together. Minus 5 plus 7. So it gives us what? It gives us 2, which satisfy what we have here. So the two factors I'm going to be using is minus 5 and plus 7. So I am going to be replacing. So instead of using 2x as we have in the question, instead of using 2x as I've written here, as I have here, I'm not going to be using 2x. I'm going to be replacing 2x with the two factors that I've gotten, which are negative 5 and positive 7. Because minus 5 plus 7 still remains 2. So, and that's what we are going to be using. Now let's quickly get that done. So we have x squared. So minus 5x now. Then plus 7x. So I've changed to minus 5 and 7. Plus 7x. Then I'm going to write minus 35 all equal to 0. So I'm going to be grouping, factorizing by grouping. That is this and this. Then I group 7x and negative 35. So from there, I discover that x is common. So we have x, then into bracket, then x in x squared, as I have here. I'm going to be having x. Then x in negative 5x is going to give us minus 5, of course. Then here, 7 is common. So I'm going to be having plus 7. Then into bracket, 7 in 7x, as I have here, is going to give me x. And 7 in negative 35 here is going to give me negative 5. All equal to 0. So from here, we progress. We're going to be picking out one of these. As you can see, they are equal. So we have x minus 5 for both cases. So I'm going to be writing one. So we have x minus 5, then multiplied by, I'm going to be writing this x and this positive 7 together. So it becomes x plus 7 in that case. We have x plus 7 equal to 0. So from here, it's either x minus 5 equals 0, or I pick this, which is x plus 7, or x plus 7 equals 0. Then I have x equals 5, or x equals negative 7. So these are the answers to our quadratic equation. So the answers are x equals 5 or x equals negative 7. Our time is fast spent, so I won't be able to do other examples. So I'm going to be doing other examples in the next video. Please do well to subscribe, to share, to comment, and to like. Anticipate for the next videos. You are great.